KRWN, HD3, Bremerton, Seattle.
And on TuneIn.com, Hing.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Hello, I'm Chris Flisher, and welcome to Turning of the Wheel, an intelligent, lively discussion on astrology, art, and adventure. Timing is everything, and as the great wheel turns, we are best prepared when we are best informed. Join me as I explore the current planetary alignments and offer insights for coping with change. Educational, informative, enlightening, the Turning of the Wheel is a welcome pause in your daily swirl of constant change. Through intelligent discourse, inspired guests, and educational segments, I will help to enlighten your knowledge of astrology and guide you to accept change as the great wheel of life turns. Call in with your questions and speak with some of the greatest visionaries in the time-tested practice of astrology. Turning of the Wheel, Astrology, Art, and Adventure with Chris Flisher, each Saturday live, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, on Contact Talk Radio.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Turning of the Wheel. My name is Chris Flisher. This is a show, as you well know, if you've listened before, about astrology, art, and spiritual adventure. So I always try to cook up something that's interesting, intriguing, and helps to expand our knowledge of the universe in some small manner each week if I possibly can. And I think astrology and all the topics that I talk about definitely do that. What we need to do, I think, if I were to look at this from the outside, objectively, if that's possible, would to take a holistic approach to life and living in general. And in that holistic approach, it's kind of like going to the supermarket. You may go to the supermarket and you'll buy a wide variety of things, of food, to bring back to your house to make your dinner. You'll buy tomatoes, you'll buy cumin, you'll buy broccoli, you'll buy meat, all this stuff to make your meal. And I think that all the topics that I bring to the table are very much the same sort of ingredients that help you comprise a healthy, balanced life when you're done. It doesn't mean that you've got to be stuck in one corner of the world. I think it's when you take a holistic approach and dabble in lots of different areas and take the best from everything that you come out as the most holistic. So that's sort of my goal with the show, and as a result, I try to shake it up a little bit. I have some fantastic shows coming up. We've got a woman coming on in November the 5th talking about her show, a movie that she just produced called My Reincarnation, which will be fascinating. And today we've got a great topic about the code, unlocking the ancient power of your birthday. I have my guest today is Thomas Poppe, and we'll be talking with him in a few minutes about this remarkable angle of divination tool, which is clearly what the code is. And we'll be getting to that in a few minutes. I just want to make a quick announcement, if I could. My website is www.chrisflisher.com. It's FLISHER.com. Or you can also get there by www.turningofthewheel.com. Both of those messages will get you there and allow you to see what I offer. And I have three sort of areas of discussion. I've got astrology, art, and guess what? Spiritual adventure. So the radio show is spiritual adventure. The artwork is artwork that I create for skins and for puzzles and for books, and it's spiritual healing artwork, and I also teach classes on that. And then, of course, the astrology is a huge piece. Under my astrology thing, you can sign up for a weekly newsletter, which allows you to get the weekly astrology reports mailed to you every Sunday evening, so that when you get to work on Monday morning, they're there. And what I would encourage you to do when you get them, if you decide to sign up, is to always look at your sun sign, which is based on your birthday, but always look at your rising sign as well. And if you're uncertain about your rising sign, I do have a rising sign calculator on my website. All you do is enter your birth date, place, and time, and you'll get the rising sign. The sign of the rising sign is where the sun was on the ecliptic, which is the horizon, at the moment you were born. That is different than where your sun actually is, and I've gone into this many times on shows in the past, so hopefully you'll have some clarity about that. If you have any questions about what the rising sign is or the meaning, I've got a lot of information on my website about that same topic. I think it's very well presented, so you should be able to understand what's going on there if you have any questions. So I encourage you to do that. When you understand your rising sign and you work with conjunction with your sun sign, you have a remarkable amount of accuracy with regard to what's going on, especially with regard to the theme. You're not going to get the specifics because astrology is a theme-based topic. It's about a story that's happening in your life. And if there's a story happening in your life, astrology will definitely point it out. So it's important that you understand that and approach it from that standpoint. We will take calls the second half of the show today because Thomas, my guest, is going to be able to give some insight into his particular way of doing astrology, which is different from mine. So again, sign up for the newsletter. Go to my website. hang in there. Thank you for your support and following. And this is listener-supported radio, much like the PBS. So if you feel so inclined to toss a penny or two into the tip jar, feel free. All things help, no matter what we can do with. Anyway, so today my guest is Thomas Poppe. He is the co-author of the book called The Code, Unlocking the Ancient Power of Your Birthday. And it is it's a different approach to what I would call a divination tool regarding the time of birth, because in my case, as you know, I work with the birth date, the birth time, and the birthplace. In this case, the code speaks with just the birth day, and it's an interesting ancient tradition that takes place in the Tyrolean Mountains of Western Europe, and it's a unique way of understanding who you are and what's going on with your life. And the amount of information that's there is incredibly relevant and fascinating as to how it's being revealed. So, without any further pause, I'd like to welcome on Joseph Poppe, who is the co-author of The Code, Unlocking the Ancient Power of Your Birthday. Thomas, welcome to Turning of the Wheel.
Welcome, everybody, and thanks for the courage of having me.
The courage. Does this require courage?
A little bit. You know, I'm from Austria, and English is not my mother tongue, so I really hope that I get my message across and talk.
Oh, you're very clear, and I'm an Aries, so I'm full of courage. You know, blind courage, if nothing else.
I see. Okay.
So listen, my show has been, I've been on the air for 5 years, and I always talk about astrology. Astrology is my love. It's my passion. I base so much on it because I've been proven its accuracy so much. And so we definitely share a common link with regard to the timing of people's births. What's interesting about your approach, and different from mine, is that you were able to garner just enough information from the actual birth date. And that is all you need, is the birth date, which includes the day, the month, and the year. And from that, you comprise a formula, which then allows you to get great information about the individual. So how does that differ from what conventional Western astrology? You are familiar with Western astrology as well, right?
To some extent. I met a few astrologers who were really, really good, who were able to combine their craft with a high degree of intuition, which I think is necessary too. And from that standpoint, it's for me clear that astrology is a very, very useful and valuable tool for everyone if he wants to get into it. But the catchword is it must be a really good astrologer, not one that writes for newspapers and does those.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Of course, yes, yeah.
But the system that I wrote about, I didn't even know how to call it. Today, booksellers would put the book into the label numerology, astrology, New Age, and hopefully one day next to the cashier. But
importantly,
the labeling was insofar difficult as the knowledge was practiced in the family of my wife. They were mountain farmers. It was practiced in absolute silence. My wife grew up with it like you would grow up with traffic lights when you grow up in a city. She has no recall whatsoever on the moments when she started to realize that she knows something about numbers. For her, it was like growing up with, like a fish with water. For example, at a very early age, around 8, she was already sent to neighbors to babysit, take care of their kids, which was a routine thing to do that at a very early age. And she always knew in advance the birth dates of the children that she had to take care of, for the simple reason that from the numbers, she knew exactly how to treat each child so that it goes to sleep peacefully. She knew, for example, that one child needed to be chased around the house 3 times and to be really exhausted before going to bed. Another child needed the exact opposite, a very soft and quiet story to be told. And a third child needed a very thrilling story to be told. So she can't recall how this system came about, and the systematizing, that was left up to me. I lived with Johanna for 10 years before I started. There is something strange about her dealing with numbers. And the first thing that I noticed early on was the fact that she remembered birth dates, hundreds of them. There was not a day passing by where she didn't say this and that person, a friend or relative, his birthday today, let's call him up. And only later on I realized that she can remember birth dates and see them in her mind's eye, as it were, in color and 3D. And slowly, in talking long talks over 2 years, this knowledge emerged, and I really had to squeeze it out from her. I could even tell you. After a while, I asked her why what was it that this knowledge was so secretive in your family? Because this is only the 10th book in a long row of books that we have written about the knowledge in this family. It was not only this piece, the code. It was so many other things. And she said, as you are aware, in Austria and especially in Tyrol, still today, the Catholic Church is boss. And what the Catholic Church declares as paganism or superstition, that can lead to the whole family suffer very much. They are socially out, totally out.
Yes, I can understand that. Yeah,
that was the main reason why they kept it to themselves.
It's a question of control at that point, and the control is dictated by the powers that be, and you are sort of have to dance the tune, actually. I mean, you have no choice.
Totally. It is like that even today. I could tell you stories about that, but this is not the subject of today.
Right.
So, okay. As I said, I was then the slow translator of this knowledge into the shape that you see today. There was no system in the beginning. There were no terms, no terminology. The word signature for individual combination of numbers was not there. Nothing was there. And I'm really happy to say that after 2 years, when we passed on the manuscript to the publisher, it was received with open arms. It became a best-selling book in no time in Germany.
It's interesting now. What you're using, see, when we as traditional astrologers use we cast a chart, as you probably have seen, and it's based on the birth time, date, and place. In your case, you use just the actual birth day, and the birth day. So essentially, what you're saying by the theory is that anyone born on a particular day will share the same characteristics.
Definitely, even identical twins, they share the same characteristics. And then there's the but maybe we come to that later.
Okay.
The basic thing is that farmers all over the ages and today too, they are, if there is such a thing as a social ladder, they were always quite down below, and because of that, they had to develop pieces of knowledge as a kind of a self-defense that they kept secret, that they kept to themselves.
Right.
We in Germany we even have the expression the farmer's cleverness. It's a Bauernschleue. It's a term that everybody knows, and it refers to the fact that farmers may be very secretive, quiet. They don't talk much, but they know a lot, and they keep it for themselves to have at least something to fall back to when the pressure gets higher. Okay, so this code. The fact that you can see from the numbers of the birth date of a child, you can see what this child is meant for in life, or in other words, what this little treasure trove of special talents this child brings into life. They could see it immediately. This fact was part of their self-defenses. Why? Simply because if you can see that, you can do everything to support that child to flower in that direction that is given by the numbers. And this led to interesting facts. For example, everybody knows that normally when parents pass on a farm to their kids, there was the custom to pass it on to the eldest son. And not in this case. People who knew the code, they could have even given the farm to a younger daughter, because she had the numbers. And in our acquaintance, there is a farming family, and they came to us one day, and that was just their problem. They had the eldest son was 18, and the time of passing on the farm was fast approaching. And this guy was just only into music and nothing else. And his dearest wish was not to tend to a farm and the animals and go out into fields, but to have a piano for birthday. And they had a daughter who was, I think, around 10 when we last talked to them. And she was the opposite. She was, from day one, from the earliest age, from the age of 3, she was following the parents around everywhere, into the woods to cut trees, everywhere. And then we looked at the numbers and we realized immediately, look, this son of yours, he has all the numbers for being a very, very good artist and also for a very good healer. You can see that immediately. And with the daughter, it's just the opposite. She's the ideal farmer's daughter. She's the ideal farmer. And you know what? That's exactly what they did. They said, okay, we stay a little while longer as managers of the farm, as farmers, and then we give it to the daughter. And today everybody's happy, and the son is a real good musician. He's a music teacher today.
Yeah, so but what
one example.
What I'm saying, I guess, is can you see now the way conventional astrology works is you could have two people born on the same day, different parts of the world at different times of the day, and I would argue that their characteristics will, while some points of them will be similar, many of the characteristics would in fact be different based on a number of characteristics. Because in our case, in the typical astrology, we would cast planets. The planets have meaning and characterization that go with them based on certain scenes and different times of their houses and where they land in the chart. In your case, you come to a much more of a global sort of overarching generalized kind of definition of the person. So somebody born in Austria, for example, on May 15th, 1981, 5/15/1981, born in Austria. You take that same person born in Los Angeles at a different time of day, and you're saying that those people will have the same characteristics and the same light pattern.
This I cannot do because to compare the system that emerged from talking to Johanna with astrology practiced as it should be and professionally. I'm not in a position to compare it because I'm not an astrologer. And from knowledge that I have, what I saw is that the numbers in your birth date, as Johanna learned it, they give you an insight, an X-ray, as it were, into a toolbox, so to speak. And whatever you do out of your own free will, or when after the onslaught of outside influences in the shape of the script that your parents write for you, or the teachers, the zeitgeist, the media, your peers at school, how that toolbox plays out. It may even be that you totally sweep it under the carpet. You may be born with numbers that give you all the talents for becoming a super healer, a true healer. And your parents are two lawyers, and they lay out the tracks for you, and you become a lawyer one day, and you have forgotten that toolbox totally. What I found out over time with working with Johanna's system is that if you are out of tune, if you sweep that toolbox under the carpet, if you stash it away somewhere in the basement, there's always an element of not being really content with your life, not being really happy.
An emptiness, a certain sense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
totally.
You're not being fulfilled.
That's it. You may be most successful lawyer in the world and earn millions, but you're not. You're apart from what you were meant for.
So that does have keeping. That does have some keeping with traditional astrology, because my contention oftentimes is that people do certain things in their lives simply because of circumstances and like you say, free wills, people who influence you. You do march a certain path, and at some point in time you may realize that you are lacking something in your life and you're empty. Yes. And then events get you to a spot in your life where suddenly you are doing what you love and you do feel right. And it's a matter of time. The example I always use is that John Lennon became very famous at 19 or 20 years old and became, a superstar and a legend in his time. And then you look at someone like George Bernard Shaw, the famous British playwright, didn't achieve fame or have his first book published until he was 94. So there's a huge difference because he may have postponed it or events did not work in his favor. Well, the question I want to ask is, when you know this piece of the person, you know that the person is supposed to be a certain characteristic, is there an element of predictability in that allows you to say you're going to get there, you just have not got it yet?
Predictability, I don't think so. From what we could see, we have a friend. This friend is a school medicine doctor. He had his own practice in Vienna, and he was totally unhappy with his job, with what he was doing as a doctor, as a healer, and that's it. He wasn't a healer. His numbers, he had in his birthday he had an 8 and a 3, and those are on the same spot. Whoever has an 8 or a 3 in his birthday is somebody who has the capacity to heal. If you are, for example, a mother and your child comes to you with a bruise, you just go over it with your hand, you rub it a little bit, and pain is gone. That's how strong this 8 and 3 plays out in life. And with this guy, he was much more interested in true healing and in music, because that's where the 8 and 3 work. And so he came to us one day and he said, I play the piano. I even do in my free time. I teach piano, and I'm much more interested in real healing. And what school medicine forces me to is shoot at symptoms. It's as if I'm not allowed to do true healing. Mm-hmm. And then we looked at his numbers and we told him, that's small wonder. It's no surprise. With the way school medicine plays out today, you're almost forced to neglect real causes and just go by the book. And
Interesting.
This is a pain for you. And
I could see that. Yeah, I think there's many people. There's many people who I think are in a situation who don't understand their real true purpose and are desperate for it, and they sort of march through their lives unfulfilled, missing the point. And but some people do get there through experiences, or some people who have tragedy in their lives that forces them to shift their focus. Any number of things can happen that can allow that to happen. And I do see the correlation there between astrology and that. I think what astrology does, conventional Western astrology, what I practice, sort of gives you the timeline for that predictability. We know when the alignment will happen. We know when the ability for that to happen will be more granular and effective. So it's interesting in that regard because
so that could complement each other.
Yes, very much so. I think they are complementary. My guest today is Thomas Poppe. We're talking about a book called The Code: Unlocking the Ancient Power of Your Birthday, and it's different from traditional astrology, which I talk about a great deal on this radio show. It has more to do with simply the birthday, and we're going to be taking some calls in the second half of the show. I'm going to give. Selfishly, I'm sorry. I'm going to give Thomas my birthday numbers first, and then we'll start taking calls after that to see if anybody's interested. The number for you to call is 1-877-230-3062, or you can log on through the CTR chat room and leave your information there. All I need really is your name and your birthday, and we'll march on from there. But I am going to come back after the second half of the show. When the second half of the show comes in a few minutes, we'll break and we'll talk about that. But Thomas, you do see the similarity between traditional astrology and what you're doing, and I think that they sort of complement each other very nicely.
Oh, they do. I likened it. I was standing under the shower and I thought, well, that's it. It's as if, because I'm still in the process of trying to find the right words to explain this system. It's been without words for so long that I'm still in trying to find the right words, and I came up with this system. It's as if a song has been composed for you, and it can be seen in the numbers. And when you forget that song, then you are moving away from your center. And because there are so many songs around, there's so much music, there's so much screeching and dissonance and so on. And if you this book is as if it rings a tiny bell, and it brings you back to that song that was specially made for you. And if you learn to sing it, that's it.
That's interesting. So you do have a sense of predestination in it, predestiny.
Oh, predestiny?
Yes.
I think we are here for a purpose.
Right,
And
but I'm saying that the birthday determines your destiny.
It determines something, and that something is like a wave, and you can learn to ride it, and that's what we're here for. Or you can say, let's move on and remain stationary, or listen to other people's tune, and then you move away from a certain center that would give you happiness to stay in.
Yeah, I think this is interesting because I am fascinated by the idea of astrology. It's all based on time and place, and I think the two are very complementary. And it's interesting because of the amount of potential that people have. And it really is a core potential that I think is very valuable, that people need to look at. And it may manifest itself in different ways. You may be a healer, and like you mentioned, the person who was a lawyer, maybe they would use their legal skills to help people heal. And that's sort of the concept that we're talking about.
He could use his voice. He could use his voice.
Absolutely.
The thing is, the book, if he looks into the book and he realizes, that is a forgotten dream of mine, because that's what the book is for. If you're happy, you don't need that book. And then he doesn't have to quit his job, but he can use his tools differently. He can even like pass by one of his clients and just put his hand on his shoulders, and he will realize, and then something will happen. I'm
totally
absolutely sure.
Yeah. Okay, you're listening to Turning of the Wheel, and my name is Chris Flisher. We're talking today with Thomas Poppe about his book called The Code, Unlocking the Ancient Power of Your Birthday. We're going to be taking some calls in the second half of the show. This week, all we need is your name and your birthday. That's it right now, and Thomas will give you a reading based on that. We're probably going to do it in a few minutes after we return. I'm going to ask him to talk a little bit about my birthday first to see what he can garner from that. But we'll be back in about 2.5 minutes, so hang in there and call in if you'd like at 1-877-230-3062, and we'll get you on the air. Anyway, right now we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you.
Now is your chance to be part of the show. Call 877-230-3062. Call in with your questions or thoughts and talk with the host and their guest. Again, that number is 877-230-3062. Did you know that you can rate this show on iTunes? The show you're listening to right now. It's true. You can leave your thoughts about the show, the topic, the guest. You can even leave a suggestion. Then before you leave, rate the show. The hosts love hearing from you, so next time you download this show from iTunes, leave your thoughts and rate the show for the host and for others.
What is your destiny? Where are you going? What is your real purpose? Do you know? Do you want to know? Of course you do. It's your duty to yourself. We are all here for a reason, and we all have great potential. Discover all of this and more with a professional astrology reading. My name is Chris Flisher, and I can help you. Discover your strengths and work on your weaknesses, and live your life to its fullest capacity. Based on your birthday, birthplace, and birth time, an authentic astrology reading will allow you to live your life to the fullest and reveal your true purpose. Only real astrology can give you real information. It is your destiny, and it is your path. Write me at chris@chrisflisher.com and book a reading today. Or call me, 978-264-0668. That's 978-264-0668. www.chrisflisher.com. As the world shrinks and our barriers come down, diverse cultures are striving for harmony, balance, and peace. To ease the transition, we need to expand with color, light, and tolerance. Now, you can become a global citizen and embrace the color and clear spirit with the divine artwork of the mandala. Mandalas are a timeless artistic offering for creating unity, harmony, and peace. My name is Chris Flisher, and I've spent years creating mandalas, and they are now available online at www.chrisflisher.com. Come and experience the world of color, form, and function with T-shirts, coffee mugs, note cards, and limited edition prints. These vibrant, lively paintings and products express optimism, oneness, and spiritual balance for all who use them. At www.chrisflisher.com, www.chrisflisher.com, and enter a world of possibility and color.
Okay, we're back on, and thank you for listening. This is Turning of the Wheel. My name is Chris Flisher, and my guest today is Thomas Poppe, and we're talking about an interesting concept. It's a different concept from what I have always talked about with regard to birthdays, but I'm looking at, trying to broaden my horizon. I think it may be a tool that I could use to supplement my own readings. It's an interesting approach to interpreting birthdays. His book, he wrote with his wife, Johanna, is his friend Johanna, I suppose I should say now, is called The Code, Unlocking the Ancient Power of Your Birthday. And we're going to start out by giving him my birthday, and he's going to go from there and explain what he sees, and then we're going to go on to take some callers, and I've got some callers lined up, and he's going to go through the list. So just hang in there and be patient. But anyway, my birthday, Thomas, is April 1st, 1952. So I'm curious what you can find there.
Yeah, I have to scribble a little bit. Okay. Now, the first thing that I can see is that I am 12 days older than you are.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I've got to listen to my elders then.
Yeah. So what I immediately see, you have the same, exactly the same numbers than one of my daughters, and these are numbers that make you uniquely suitable for running your own business.
Ah.
You have the vision, the curiosity to never stop, and always to look behind the smoke screen of things, as it were. And what you find behind, you're not even satisfied with that. You are going further and further until you're happy with, now I've reached reality. Mm-hmm. This is the number one. The number two gives you the capacity to speak and to talk with charisma. When you enter the room, what you say will be remembered. And the number four gives you a drive for material success, or success in general, and gives you a very good feeling for numbers, and also a manual dexterity. If you are interested in building a house with your own hands, I would live in it. Mm-hmm. Put it this way. What is missing from your birthday, that's the East, that's the numbers 8 and 3. Now, that is no problem, except for sometimes for the people around you who are sometimes confronted with a little bit of impatience on your part.
Oh, yeah, I'm very impatient, yeah.
Yes, you're too fast.
That's an Aries trait, though.
Yes, true. You're too fast. You grasp concepts where other people are still thinking, should I do the next step? Yeah. You're already around the corner. And see, it is very simple. And the color, since every number in your birthday is associated with a color vibration, the numbers missing from your birthday are green. So you could work with the color green to help you a little bit get more patience, get more sort of put yourself easier in other people's shoes.
More grounded, yeah. It's very much of a... See, green is the color of the earth, so it's the grounding color. And then interestingly enough, I've got 3 sons who are all earth signs, so they sort of help ground me. That's no small coincidence, I don't think.
No, not at all. No, there are no coincidences in this respect. You all choose each other. And,
yes, and that does accurately talk to me and what I am and what I'm certainly what I'm all about. And as I said when we were talking earlier, Joseph had mentioned the fact that people, when you know this stuff, if we were to know this stuff at birth, parents might make different decisions on how to influence their children towards which careers they are, because oftentimes. we're led down a pathway or told that we should do something when it just doesn't feel right to us because we're looking at it through their lens. And when we look at it through our own lens and we know in our gut what feels right, then that's what we really should do. And I think that's what this is useful for, because it does sort of give you a very quick look at what is going on in your life and where your great potential lies.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. And the most satisfying letters we get from readers of our books are coming from teachers.
Yes.
Who told us that for them a whole different world of doing their job opened up because they immediately could understand their kids, their students much better. They could understand that it's not possible to milk an oxen and try to squeeze efforts and grades out of kids who cannot do that, who are specialists for different things. And
yes.
This lessening of pressure on them, on the part of teachers, on the part of parents, and so on, is such a boon that this book, for me, I mean, it's one of the greatest happiness in my life. I've written books selling millions, but this book is really it. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it does give you a certain granularity. It gives you a certain ability. But, you could also argue that, we know many of these things ourselves inherently. Yeah. I do know that I'm supposed to do this. I do know that I, as well, am a teacher. I feel very comfortable in the role of a teacher as long as I'm teaching something I'm passionate about. So those characteristics are there. I guess the one question I would ask is, do you get enough depth with this type of information?
That this book cannot aspire to. It can give you what is there, and we are not a panacea. We not promise anything. It's what this book can do. Basically, you don't need it yourself. If you are an honest person, if you call a spade, you look into the mirror and you realize what your initial dreams were when you came. You listen. You know what that song is that would really, really make you happy, and that's it. But the book can help you to understand other people much better.
Very good. Well, with that in mind, let's get a few callers on and see if we can help them understand their true purpose. I certainly like to open this up once in a while to people. Our first caller is, I believe, Lolita. Lolita, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
You got a famous book named after you. And so that's one thing you've got going for you. But your birthday we have is December 19th, 1976. So, Thomas, what can you tell Lolita about her birth date?
She has similar numbers than you have, so everything that I said before applies to her too, with the exception of that she has a super south with 2 and 7. Whoever has a 2 and or a 7 in his birthday is somebody who has a charisma, who can talk very well, express very well, transmit information well, but also who likes to move and to dance. And if you are blocked from that at an early age, which happens to girls quite a lot, don't fiddle around like that too much, and then they get more. They slow down to a halt and have to do that movement internally, and for them it would be great to rediscover that. And what can be said? Oh yeah, the center is missing. You have the 5 and the 0, which is in the center. Lolita doesn't have that, so she has so many talents. She has the 1 and 6. She has the 9. She can do anything with her life that she puts her mind to, except that very often she finds herself lacking the self-confidence doing it, going forward. And there, in her case, the color yellow, and also to meditation. Yellow and meditation would help her a lot to get to that firm ground where she can really look at what she wants to do in life, opposed to maybe what the program was so far, the automatic things in life. She can get back to her initial dreams and then really go forward with it. It doesn't mean that she has to, Lolita, that you have to switch jobs, but it means that once you get conscious of that, what your real drive in life is, and as I said, you have all the tools necessary to go for it. Then things happen. it's as if you create a kind of a magnetism around you where you attract help for going forward with that. Does that ring a bell?
Yes. Oh, my goodness, almost everything. Because right now I'm in a transition. I have been pretty much just going through life as you guys were talking about. And then I'm in a position now where I'm a stay-at-home mom and I'm trying to figure it out now. And everything that you've really said is really hitting home.
So I think this is what's important about this, Lolita, I think, is the fact that I think many people have the understanding inherently about what their purpose may be. But I think circumstances, children, marriages, jobs, finances, mortgages, all these things get in the way. And we may not arrive at that spot until later in our life. And I think that I would actually offer, Thomas, I'm pretty sure this is probably true, that if people don't really act to their real true purpose, it could actually set the ground for illness, perhaps because they're
totally.
just not. Yeah,
absolutely. I agree totally. It's a pathway to health. This system, and you can use the numbers and you can use the colors associated with the numbers to heal yourself. I can state that unequivocally. It's also something to Lolita. She could put her love for numbers to good use. This is innate talent that she has.
Okay.
Yes, that's great. Thank you so much for calling, Lolita, and call back again sometime, and I'll do your reading based on astrology if you like sometime.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Chris.
You're very welcome. Thanks for calling.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Our next caller is Claire. Claire, are you there?
Yes. Hi, Chris.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
That's good. Thomas, Claire's birthday is April 28th, 1955. That's the birthday of my twin sons, by the way, so I'm curious to hear.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Great.
They were supposed to be Geminis, but they came early.
Claire, okay. The first thing that I could say is these are the numbers that would be suitable for a great actor, because you have numbers where you can combine both worlds, as it were, an outward look at the material life, and at the same time the number 8 that give you a great sensitivity, and sometimes to the point where you have to put a stop to it because you feel too much. But what is good is that you have 2-5. 2-5 give you a very basic self-confidence and a contact to nature, and be rooted in yourself. That has a funny side effect, and that is that wherever you are, you feel at home instantly, and it's very easy for you to make friends and so on. But after a while, after three or 4 years, very often people who have a big center like you have, they tend to move. They say, let's get out of here, and then the decision to do that is very quick. This happens sometimes. What you're missing is the north. So if for example you would be self-employed, you would need somebody for the visionary aspect of a enterprise, for the strategic thinking. You wouldn't be the inventor in the company. Does that all ring a bell a bit?
Somewhat interesting, and I grew up in the military, so I actually moved every 2 or 3 years all my life.
I see.
And then I married
a military kid.
and I married a man that joined the military, so I've lived in 20-something places.
So you're totally well equipped for a life like that. It's not as if you feel like uprooted all the time, but you are one of those people who realize that what you really need in life are good friends and not a special place to be in. At least you are equipped for that, even though you may long sometimes for a place to stay for forever maybe. But you are, as I said, you probably after 2 or 3 or 4 years you would get restless.
Well, I'm in one place now, and I'm happy to find
Yeah, well,
stuff.
I guess restlessness came as a byproduct for her.
Yeah,
because she got it whether she wanted it or not.
Claire, does your husband have a 1 and or a 6 in his birthday?
Yes, December 10th, 51.
December 10th, 51. So he's got 3 ones. You are just super suited for each other, because he's so to speak the locomotive in the family, and you provide everything else. But you have so many talents. I really hope that you find something in the way of a profession for yourself. You're not only a housewife, I hope.
I have been at home, but I did publish a book a year ago.
Oh,
Which is this is this is really no surprise for me. Let me tell you, because you have the numbers for it, you have the sensitivity and the insight for it, and you have the literary talent. You're just perfect for that.
So
interesting. I'm happy you have found that, because with so many talents you have to do something. Otherwise you just
I've had many readings with Chris before. It's kind of interesting. I lost my 22-year-old son 4 years ago.
Oh.
And
yes.
I didn't realize I had any of these things until after he died.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the point I was trying to make to you, Joseph, was that sometimes events get us to the spot where we're supposed to be.
Right.
I think that's true with Claire.
There is not one event in life that doesn't help you to get to your true center. With Johanna, my wife, in the meantime, that I co-wrote the book with, she lost her son at the age of 15 to leukemia.
Oh.
And this event, it's a long time ago now, but this event and the surrounding events were absolutely pivotal for both of us to choose a path that is not dictated by, let's put it this way, by normalcy. It was dictated by, let's find out the true meaning of what we are here for and what the rest of us are here for.
And I think that, in Claire, in your case, and the same is true with you, Thomas, following that number, following that path, even if it may not be exactly at birth, when you may get to it at a certain point in time, you finally do arrive to your true purpose. And by arriving at that point, you certainly have a sense of familiarity to it, I think is the word that would ring true. You certainly feel like you belong there. And I think it's a very healthy way to expand and extend your life. I think it really does help. And I think it's foolish to postpone that or to avoid that.
Chris, absolutely right, and that's why the book is written in such a way that we encourage the reader to find that spot, to find that voice in themselves, and then really trust it, because today we are surrounded by voices of all kinds, of all colors, and 99% of those voices want to pull us away from our own center.
Yeah.
To find the station, to find the courage and the power to not listen to them, and to stop and go back and meditate a bit, and then listen to this tiny voice in yourself. That's what we're here for. That's why we wrote this book.
Yeah.
What would be the color for me?
Black and blue.
Black and blue. And why is that?
White. White. You have already a lot. It's not necessary. But if you ask me what colors complement you, what color fill the gap and help you to create, to be able to move into a visionary spot, so to speak, that's black and blue. And if your husband wears black and blue, that's too much. He has that color to give away. And for your husband, let's see. Oh, he's got the 0. For your husband, it would be green. Yeah, green would be great. Green and white.
Green and white.
There you go. You're all set. You know what to wear today, too, so you're better off than you were before.
Isn't that fascinating, Chris, how he can get some things just from the birthday? Interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thanks so much, Claire. I'm going to try to get one more caller on if we can, just to sort of help round it out. But thank you so much for calling, and I'm glad this has been useful. And now you know what you have to put on today, so you're good to go. Thanks so much for calling, Claire. Okay, Mary is next. Mary, are you there?
Hello.
Yeah, hi, Mary. Thanks for calling. Thomas is going to look at your birthday. Mary's birthday is October 22nd, 1956, so happy birthday, Mary.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy birthday.
I want to say, Chris, I love your show.
Oh, thank you so much. It's very nice of you.
And your artwork is fantastic.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for that, too. That's wonderful of you to say. So, Thomas, what do you see in Mary here?
Chris, let me say that, but your artwork is really absolutely stunning. I love
well, that's very nice. Thank you.
Totally.
Mary,
you very much. Your numbers, you have the same numbers as our publisher in Germany, Random House, Mr. Klaus Eck. He and I've noticed that many people who are in the media business, in the business of transmitting information, and to be really good at it, to be heard, to be centered, to be self-confident, to pass it on, and those are numbers ideal for a teacher.
Thomas, this is so exciting.
Really?
I made a switch. I was in love with my real estate work for years, and I made a switch to something that I thought was really different.
You are not. Your heart is not in real estate, because
but
you lack the West.
Protecting is what I got out of. I asked myself after you said something about purpose. Mm-hmm. What is it about this that I'm doing now that I love? And I'm doing the same thing. My goal is to teach and protect.
Super. You have the perfect numbers for that. You also have the zero. Zero is in the numbers of a birthday, so almost magical number, because if you lack a certain station, a certain talent package, so to speak, it's easier for you with the zero to conquer it and to get to know it. For example, what is missing from your birthday are the numbers for musicality. But the zero gives you the ability that if you put a lot of discipline and free will into it, you would still become very good at playing an instrument or even singing. With singing, that would be you. That would be also great to have.
That is me.
What you could do, the missing numbers. You could balance those with the color white and color green. These are colors that very often it's interesting that the colors that missing from one's birthday are also the colors that are really where you really look fashionable in, and you could experiment with that, or maybe you have a lot of experience already with it.
That explains a lot of my closet.
See, women have a more instinctive, more intuitive approach to those numbers, and very often their closet is full with the color that is missing from their birthdays. We see that a lot.
Very interesting.
And one thing that I could say from your numbers, when you would have told me real estate agent before, I would have told you for that you are too generous.
See, you're giving away too much.
Exactly. She's not. With these numbers, you are not going in for the kill. Many other factors are more important for you in your job, and as a real estate agent, you have to have some kind of materialistic drive, and this is lacking from your numbers.
Interesting. Yeah. That's funny. So maybe I'll buy a house. Maybe I'll buy a house from you, Mary.
No, I just put my license in inactive. I changed it too. I'm actually reviewing apps, educational apps for kids, and ensuring that they're having a good internet experience and not, that sort of thing, and put a website together. So it's exciting.
That's good.
And it's the same thing. It's protecting and it's teaching. And
that's great. We're running out of time, Mary, anyway, I'm sorry to say. But thank you so much for calling, and I'm glad you got something out of this. So I'm going to have to say goodbye. But thank you so much for calling.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mary.
Okay, you're very welcome. My guest today has been Thomas Poppe. He is the co-author of a book called The Code, Unlocking the Ancient Power of Your Birthday. And it is something that I think works well with traditional astrology, in as much as it can get you some very interesting information fairly quickly, and you'll know very much which way you have to go. It is on the Beyond Words, and it's Atria Books, and it's probably available through SimonandSchuster.com. It's a wonderful book. It's very enlightening, and I think it's a wonderful complement to what I would consider to be traditional astrology. So, Thomas, thank you very much for coming on today. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
Chris, thank you too.
It was very interesting to see how much information we could get. As always, the time goes by so quickly, so I think I need a 2-hour show. But anyway, that's another story altogether. Thank you all for listening. Next week I'll be back on with He Says, She Says, which is a wonderful time, as you well know. Deborah Clement and I will be on doing Battle of the Sexes with astrology, so we'll figure out what's going on there. Anyway, thanks so much for everybody for listening, for your support. If you enjoy what you listen here, try to help out if you can a little bit. Everything helps a little bit. On my website, there's a tip jar if you want to throw a penny or two in, that'd be great. Anyway, I appreciate your support and your calls always. And tune in next week. And Thomas, thank you so much. Again, my guest has been Thomas Poppe, author of The Code, Unlocking the Ancient Power of Your Birthday. Thomas, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you too. Have a good day, everybody.
That's great. Thanks, Thomas. And I'll be in touch with you via email. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you all next week. Thanks, Malu. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
You've been listening to Turning of the Wheel with your host, Chris Flisher. To schedule a reading with me or to order artwork, you may visit my website at www.chrisflisher.com. That's www.chrisflisher.com. Or email me, and you can call me at 978-264-0668. Thank you. And as always, be open to possibilities.